Hi everybody, it's Thursday the 23rd. I am cheating and doing my weekly thing on this Thursday because I had to stand in a few minutes earlier for Microsoft because their unfortunately technology let us down on the Cobra meeting. So just to have a quick overview of the week that's nearly finished. The first thing is, wow, everyone's a star. Yeah, we had the Look North BBC Look North film. That was just fantastic. Yeah, the fact that our guys made some films and they've all ended up on the news, and I think that's great. That makes me feel quite emotional. Our staff, everybody just doing such a fantastic job. It's so creative. I don't know about you, but seeing the sort of the Kentucky Fried Chicken, and heads up to Kentucky for fried chicken, for actually letting us have their boxes. I think it was brilliant, and so on. So I think everybody's just doing incredible things. And that's given us a lot of thought, and I think we will be bringing together people from the homes who are the originators of these type of ideas to come up with a whole series of things that we can do. Because obviously what's changed now is we've changed 180 degrees from the idea is that everybody should be out in the community, doing all the stuff in the community. And now actually it's 180 degrees. You don't go to the community, you've got to do it all at home. So it's about how we can make better things happen at home and how we can be more creative around that. And I think that film really sort of gave us all a very good overview, together with all the other films that have been happening on our YouTube, which has got a new name, and I think you'll see that. So that's great. We've been able to give it that name because we've got over 100 people, and I'm desperately trying to think of what that name is. But it's in fact I've got Anna on the other end of this. Anna, what's the new name?
The Social Care Diary.
It's the Social Care Diary, right? That is nice and easy. Social Care Diary. Okay. PPE, we're in a good place with PPE, except, and this did get picked up on the Cobra meeting earlier on, we had a member of staff who didn't get tested for whatever reasons, and the implication of that person not getting tested for one day on the basis that they would have had a negative, obviously being a positive, that wouldn't be the case, but if they'd had a negative test, that would save us 71 sets of PPE. So, I think that's really important. And what I also just want to say is that tomorrow we're going to be doing a session, which is a round discussing what happens when somebody does get coronavirus and so on. And what is really interesting is that actually, and this will come out in that session, that in fact we're really well rehearsed for this because obviously where somebody's being isolated, the assumption is that they have coronavirus even if they don't have coronavirus. So our staff in many of the homes have already been doing all of this, and that's something we want to sort of spell out a lot more. So it's that they are situations where they're assuming that people have got it until that we know that they haven't got it. So that's quite important. Testing, fantastic. We've had testing in the homes, so as much as we all want to criticise the government and blame somebody, do you know what? Difficult circumstances. I actually personally think they're doing a really good job. There will be things that they could have done better, but you know what? Let's not complain about it because right at this moment in time, we've got the PPE we need, we're getting the testing that we needed, both for the individuals, and it was so well done within the homes. Really encouraged about that. Thank you so much to the CCG and their nurses who did a fantastic job on it and really sensitive, etc. Food has been is an ongoing issue. So we now have people who are responsible purely for eggs. Somebody else is purely responsible for milk. We are becoming a little mini Amazon, and we're having to sort of move and adapt as things happen. The whole food supply for 87 individuals plus usually 87 staff minimum. Actually it's a massive operation to make that work. It doesn't sound like it, but that's the difference of being able to go out to your supermarket at any time or actually having to plan things in advance. So we're becoming logistical specialists as well. The volunteering, fantastic. We thank you families, parents who volunteered, really great, much appreciated. We've had individuals in hospital, everything's gone really well. We did have a problem last week with an individual who's in hospital. We had a bit of a falling out as to who should be paying or whether or not we should be supplying staff into the hospital. And initially we were told by the local authority that we should not be supplying staff into the hospital because of the coronavirus issue. We really challenged that because the hospital wanted us to be there. Anyway, it got settled very amicably in the end. but it does actually highlight this issue about our sons and daughters and the fact that I think it's men die 13 years prematurely if you have a learning disability compared to the average, and I think it's women is 20 years prematurely. And when you see this sort of onward, always fighting about supporting an individual when they go into hospital, and normally many local authorities will not pay for the time in there, but we do put our staff in. But it's wrong. They of course they should be paying and they should be encouraging staff to go there because it's way beyond medical when you're having to deal with behaviours and so on. The media is very, very full of everything was about NHS, which is great and it should be. Then they finally picked up on elder care, which is great. But we as in learning disabilities, we're not getting enough coverage that our fantastic staff deserve. Because not only are you dealing with the health and well-being issues and so on, but on top of that, our staff have got to deal with behaviours, And if somebody wants Marmite and actually you can't buy any Marmite, that can actually cause massive behavioural problems. If somebody doesn't get the food that they're expecting to get and the way that causes massive problems. Our staff are fantastic, and that's not to say that elder care staff and the NHS staff aren't equally fantastic, but our staff are unbelievable because they're having to think for the individuals and they're having to sort of respond and be able to enter into the individual's world, and they're just great at all of that. Fine. Well, I could say a heck of a lot more, but I've got to be honest, it's really sunny outside. I'm meant to be on holiday in Greece, which I can't unfortunately go to, as none of you guys can, so I'm going to make the most of the garden, and I'm going to be dragged off to grow some peas or something. So have a really good weekend, and catch up with you soon. Bye.